Today we have my dear friend and hypnotherapist, Andrea, and she is a hypnotherapist that uses embodied hypnosis to help entrepreneurs heal their subconscious blocks and create successful businesses. I've been working with Andrea for a year now. We started like right around your birthday that's coming up,
Yeah.
and I'm just obsessed. I meet with her like weekly or bi-weekly, and the breakthroughs I've had with her are amazing. And we can also thank Andrea for kind of being the catalyst for this podcast because after I was on hers, that's when we started ours. So thank you so much, Andrea, for being on the show today. And I'm so excited to dive right into what you have to say. And
Welcome, Andrea.
yeah, like to start out, we're gonna do like a little meditation just to kind of get grounded, and then we'll kind of just jump into the conversation.
Thank you for introducing me so beautifully. It's so lovely to have your gifts mirror back to you, so I appreciate that. And I love to be with both of your energy today. I would love like my guests to also see us and see our energy. And we will start with a like software meditation so we can ground ourselves in the present moment, and then we can talk more about abundance and business and hypnotherapy and all these things. So if you are ready, we can start taking a deep breath in. And when you close your eyes, when you exhale, just close your eyes and allow your body to melt away on the chair, the sofa, the bed you're sitting on. And we will take just a few deep breaths together to center ourselves in the present moment and in our bodies. So I invite you to take another deep breath in. And when you exhale, just shift your awareness from the outside world to your inside world, to your body, to your sensations, to your thoughts, just observing them, not interfering, not judging them, just being present with them, with you. And the third deep breath in. And when you exhale, just release all the thoughts, all the emotions, all the energies, anything that's going through your awareness right now, so you can be just centered here and present and open. Open to this meditation, open to this podcast, open to receive new insights, new energies, new emotions. And from this present place, I invite you to imagine that from your heart there are some roots that goes to the center of the earth, and that you're grounding yourself in the present moment, in your body. Like through these roots you're gathering energy from the core of this earth right into your heart, and you're feeling this energy, filling your heart and your body with the earth's abundance. And from your heart, I invite you now to see other roots that goes through the top of your head, through the ceiling, to the universe, and you're charging yourself with the universe abundance as well. And open yourself to realize that in any moment you have access to this abundance, that it lives all around you. It lives in the earth, it lives in the universe, it lives in the sky, in the clouds, in the flowers, in the trees, in the oceans. Nature is abundant. Whenever you're connecting with nature and with the present moment and with your body, you'll find abundance around you. The only thing that says that you're not abundant or your life is not abundant is your mind that tries to protect you. It's your mind that learned a story from the past that there is not enough, or that it's not safe for you to have enough. And in this moment, really allow for the first time in your life to experience this real abundance that's living in any moment around you. So know that whenever you have these thoughts or these emotions or of feeling that maybe you're not abundant or it's hard for you to make money or to lead a successful business or to receive opportunities that will help you receive more abundance, all you need to do is take a deep breath in, close your eyes, and connect with the earth, with the universe, with the nature around you, and feel its abundance. Allow these feelings, these emotions, to live in every cell of your body, in every tendon, bone, muscle, imprinting your full body, your being, your subconscious mind with abundance, and make it your new reality from now on. Knowing that you can come back to this moment, to this place, to this feeling in any time of your life. I invite you to slowly gather all this abundance and place it in your heart. And slowly I will count from 3 to 1, and with each number you will come here back with me in the present moment, bringing with you all the abundance that you felt, and make your life more abundant than ever. So 3, you're gathering all this abundance and make it yours once and forever. Through, you're feeling the room around you, the chair, the bed, the sofa you're sitting on, you feel your body. And when I say the next number, you'll open your eyes and be here with me, feeling perfectly abundant forever and ever. So 1, open your eyes and welcome here with me. You can take a deep breath in to release the practice. Stretch your body a little bit. Look around you to ground yourself in the present moment. That's so beautiful to see you both stretching and with your face relaxed. How do you feel?
That was beautiful. That was really restful. Like Khara, you said her voice is magical, and I was just like, yeah, I'm sure it is, but that was magical.
Thank you
It's
so
very
much.
calming. Like my central nervous system feels at peace right now.
Yes,
I
yes,
heard
that's
it that
that's the
way.
most beautiful things that we can do for our bodies, to center ourselves just for a few moments. It wasn't like that's, the misconception is that you need to do hour-long practices to be calm or to be centered, but it's just about taking a few deep breaths and just centering yourself and being present with your emotions. And it's the same with working with abundance. We think that we need to do all these steps to make money or to have the life that we want, but it's just about these little moments that we create the reality that we desire.
It's like atomic habits, like habit stacking, these like
Yeah.
small things. It's like with anything, just that's a really good example of how we can implement a simple meditation practice into our everyday life. It can just
Hmm.
be 5 minutes after waking up and like your theta brain wavelength state. And I love that. I think
Yes.
that made it seem so easy, and I feel calmer now. I feel rested.
Oh, I'm so happy. It's my pleasure is to help people relax. At the core of my work is whenever like I do meditations where I work with Khara and I see her half asleep there on her chair. I'm like, I'm doing a good job. They're like, this is my
Yes.
dream of helping people relax. So yeah, that's
Oh,
the thing. Like if I can say something about hypnotherapy, is that it's one of the most effective therapy because it helps you relax and be more open to receive information, comparing, let's say, to traditional talk therapy, right, where you go and talk about your problems. You stay in that state when you talk about your problems and you're like recreating the conflicts that you've been through and sharing the same stories, the same challenges all over again. You're like
hmm.
not you're not rewiring it, you're not healing it. Maybe you receive a release, but it's not going deep so you can fully change it for the rest of your life. So that's why hypnotherapy is very effective, because it helps your body relax, helps your nervous system stay calm, and your subconscious mind be open to any change, and that will take you in a process of achieving what you want faster. So basically relaxed healing. It's the best healing for me. Like I relax, I sleep, and at the same time I heal. Like what?
Yes.
Abraham Hicks said something about that. If you guys don't know who Abraham Hicks is, she's like a metaphysical healer too. And she says talking about your problems just puts you back in that low vibrational state, and it brings you back to when you felt that way, and that feeling comes up, and that's what you're aligned with again. And you're
Mm-hmm.
like you just said, Andrea, you're not healing it, you're only regurgitating it, and you're not to say that we should have toxic positivity and suppress our emotions, but
No.
living in those problems and making it your truth is not going to be conducive to the healing you want to achieve. And I want to hear more about hypnotherapy and what brought you to it and how long you've been practicing.
Mm. Yeah, I thought that we were getting into my story with hypnotherapy. So I think like I like my studies in psychology. So I have a BA in psychology and a master's degrees in business psychology. And when I was doing psychology, I heard like a teacher saying that she's a hypnotherapist. And when I just heard hypnosis, I was like, somewhere in my life I will do that. I don't know what it was that voice that, but it sounds so cool. I don't know, like, wow, that's so cool. I'm going to do that. But you know that life is not linear and it's not how we dream sometimes.
Yeah.
So I was trained in traditional therapy, and while I was working with clients, I was also doing talk therapy. And honestly, and in Romania, like 15 years ago, there weren't so many hypnotherapy practices or to learn hypnotherapy for someone. Like you were, everyone was trained in traditional talk therapy. And what I saw is that, I've been in traditional therapy, talk therapy for 5 years, and I was still having the same relationship. I was attracting the same unavailable partners. I was struggling with money. Like the improvement I made was really slow, like I had some insights. I was able to change a few stuff, but the core wounds were still there. And when I worked with clients, like they were like just from session to session, there wasn't so many progress. So that discouraged me. And also, there weren't a lot of people that went to therapy in Romania 15 years ago. So I really struggled with money as well. So I said that, okay, I'm going to do something else for a while so I can raise more money to also, build my therapy practice. And I
Mhm.
started learning branding and graphic design. And I became an art director in advertising agencies. And when you work in some place that's comfortable and you receive a fixed salary and you don't need to get clients and work for yourself and struggle by yourself and all these things, like years pass by really easily. So I stayed for 8 years in advertising agencies, hoping at some point I will be able to come back to my dream. And it was when the pandemic hit and the job that I was in a way, like the company started to dissolve and they had problems with paying salaries. And in a way, we were forced to give like to resignate. So I said, maybe this is a sign. Okay, if they force me, like this is my sign to get to my dream, dream back, to get back
Job.
to my
Yeah.
dream. So I started the hypnotherapy practice because during these years, even though I wasn't practicing anymore, I tried different techniques. So I stopped doing talk therapy, but I was going to dream therapy, like Jungian therapy and analyzing my dreams. Where I worked with drama therapy, where I was painting and drawing and journaling about my thoughts. And all of them brought something into my life, but didn't bring that change. So 4 or 5 years ago, I started working with a hypnotherapist, and I went directly and said, I'm attracting the same partners. I'm at the end of my third toxic relationship, and I just can't do it anymore. So I want to work on relationship. And in the first session, the hypnotherapist brought me back to my past where my parents got divorced, and I saw my father, I saw my mother telling me in the hypnosis how they will divorce and how like the reality that I knew was about to shift. And that was the moment. Like I saw myself deciding that love doesn't exist. I will never love someone because it's not safe. Love will end at some point. So for me, it's not safe to have a healthy partner or a healthy love. And I burst in cried, like in tears, in hypnosis. And from that moment, it shifted my relationship. Like I ended the third relationship. I started attracting healthier partners. Like it's changed from one session, so I worked on money mindset. I worked on all these things that I with my self-esteem and all these things during these years, and that helped me in a way to also quit my job and start my own business as well. So of course that I wanted to teach people and to help people with the same tools. So I took a hypnotherapy school and I started practicing online. So I'm in Romania and I work mostly with US based clients. And it was a journey here as well because I worked on healing, like in general. But then I discovered that I love a lot to work with entrepreneurs. I don't know why, but it's a power that you see in entrepreneurs or people that want to shift their career. Like I love a lot to work on blogs to make the business successful, because when a woman wants to create a business or wants to up level her career, she's not only doing it for herself, she's doing it for her family, she's doing it for her kids. She has this bigger purpose, like I want to save the world or I want to make the world a better place. So there is like a determination there, and the discussions are like next level, and the work that I'm bringing to them is like have a bigger impact than when I was working only like heal my anxiety or heal my couple or heal, like I found a deeper meaning of working with entrepreneurs. So that
I think
was
it's,
my niche.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
that
you.
was the last thing. That's how my niche unraveled, and now I'm working with entrepreneurs.
I think that's fantastic. I love that story, especially how you kind of veered away from it and then ended up coming back to it. When you said life isn't linear, I think many people can resonate with that. We all know that there have been twists and turns and directions we didn't think we'd take in life, and here we are.
Yeah.
And when also you were talking about your hypnotherapy session regarding relationships, I went through hypnotherapy a few years back also when I was living overseas, and I found I went into it with the mindset thinking, okay, this is my problem. Like my conscious mind was like,
Mm,
this is my problem. This is why I'm here.
yeah,
But then when we got into it, my subconscious mind was like, no, our problem is actually this.
yeah,
And I went in thinking I needed to learn how to have a healthier relationship with food. I wanted to stop binge eating. I wanted to be healthier, lose weight. And then when I came out of I did 3 sessions. And over the course of each session, I realized actually what kept coming up was things around inner child healing and
yeah,
relationship wounds and abandonment wounds. And I was using that food as a mask, as a tool to comfort myself. And when I got to that root of the problem, I can't even tell you when my relationship with food changed. But for years now, it's not even an issue. I don't binge eat. I don't I find myself craving foods that are good for me and healthy. And I truly think it came down to healing that core wound, that inner child wound. And it comes down to our subconscious mind knows, and that's what drives us. But our conscious mind has ego and pride. And we are like, no, this is what I need, but it's really not.
yes. I think Kara is like the best example here of 1 year of working together. How many times she thought that, oh my God, I think I found why I experienced this thing. And then we went into the hypnosis and it was an opposite thing or a total different
Yes.
thing that she thought. Because we think if we would have the answer, we will solve it by ourselves, right? So if I would know that okay, my I don't have a successful business because I'm afraid to show up online, let's say. If I know that, then I will try to show up online like 1 minute today, 2 minutes tomorrow, and do something in this way, or try to be better on video, things like that. But we think we know, so we try to work with that conscious reason. And the reason why we're not up leveling it or healing is that we are not working with the actual cause of it. Usually, it's in fact, as you said, a childhood wound, a part of yourself that was blocked somewhere in your past because it experienced something that was too traumatic, too much to cope with it. So it stayed blocked in that part. So for example, with this fear of showing up online, I had a lot of clients that I worked with, and the fear underneath was that they were bullied in school. So they had like a 7-year-old version of themselves that was blocked at the point of, oh my God, even if I will show up online, maybe somebody will bully me. So I prefer to hide myself and not take my business to the next step because maybe somebody will bullying me. So like it's that part that stayed in our past, trying to cope but couldn't. And in hypnosis, we go back to that 7-year-old moment when you were bullied by your colleagues, and we take your power back. So we go with your adult version of yourself, and you go there to your 7-year-old and you take her by the hand, and you're like, do whatever she needed in that moment but couldn't, like start swearing the bullies, or like kicking them, or like just holding her in her maybe she just needed to be held or protected, or to have somebody holding her back, like whatever she needs. Like we go back and fulfill her need, and then rewire that fear of being seen into what's your like bigger need than the fear of being seen. Is it that you want to share your message in the world and have a bigger vision through your business? So yeah, okay, so we put that belief instead of I'm afraid to being seen, so we rewire it. And as you said, like after you do this, there are like really low chances for that wound to come up because you've gave that part what she needed.
That's beautiful. The rewiring the
Uh,
subconscious mind is so valuable. Khara, what's some of your experiences this year been like? Like, tell me what you came into, like knowing about hypnotherapy and what you were seeking to get out of it.
Well, when I try to think about like how I found Andrea, like I've told her this too. I think I was just like looking at I don't even know what it's called, like the open feed where you like go and just see what's up and it's like whoever's on there.
Mm-hmm.
And her graphics were like really appealing. And so I was like, oh, let me see what this is. And I reached out to her and I actually like I had heard about hypnotherapy, but I wasn't really like too familiar with it. And I really just wanted to learn more about it. And she was offering this program at the time where you could actually learn about it. And she also takes you through hypnosis like as you're learning. And so I did that. I think it was like, I don't even know, like a 6 week thing maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And after I was able to get like that foundation of what it was and to actually be able to practice it myself, I was addicted. So I just kept like working with her. And when she mentions like the whole like when you go back through your childhood, like I was surprised like at how small some of the things were that I went back to that had affected me so deeply. Like
Oh gosh. Yeah.
one of the most recent ones when we were going through, I think it was around like being seen or like using my voice. We went back and I was in like second or third grade. And I remember like my mom would listen to like Celine Dion all the time. So like, and I would like sing along to it. And I had stopped singing at like a really young age. And when I went back, I tried to like think like where that like came from. And I went back to this third grade me that was like telling my friends like, oh, I can sing like Celine Dion. And like they're like, I don't believe you. And I can't remember if I actually tried to sing for them or I was just like, "Ugh, they don't believe me, so I'm not gonna like try to prove it to them." But I got like hung up in that little spot, and the inner child work is so powerful too, because
Yeah.
nothing cuts to the heart deeper than the little you.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
And
Wow. You said it so beautifully.
Yes. And
yeah.
just knowing how with kids, like your world is this tiny world at that time. You don't expand beyond it. So even though to like, 34-year-old Kelly, I'm like, oh, that wasn't a big deal. But like to 7-year-old Kelly, it was, and it stuck and it stayed.
Mm-hmm.
I had a breakthrough moment too, Khara. A couple years ago, I was seeing a life coach. And she's not a hypnotherapist, but we did a guided meditation that hit on a chord that was similar to what I've experienced in hypnotherapy. And it took me back to seventh grade. And I had this friend who like wasn't a very nice friend, but I was so insecure and I like didn't speak my truth. I didn't have like a voice or a platform. I didn't step into that for other reasons. And she would make me feel really bad. And I like made this connection in that meditation. I was like, oh my gosh, that I'm operating from seventh grade Kelly. When I get this trigger, I step into 11-year-old Kelly's mind and body, and I'm not operating from 34-year-old Kelly. I'm triggered and I am reacting in a way that seventh grade Kelly would react. And I need to
Mm-hmm.
heal that core
Mm-hmm.
wound because I got stuck there. And just like you get stuck in these stagnations when something happens to you and I think this is really similar to Reiki, and in a way like you're talking about healing it at its core wound and its root. And I find so much value in that, especially Andrea, which you personalize in with entrepreneurs and money blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I find this so fascinating because money is an exchange of energy.
Yeah.
And where it comes from, how you receive it, it can be with anything. Like, how do you receive compliments will tell me how you receive money. It's all intertwined in this energetic field. I want to hear more about how you define the money blocks, how you help people release them and step into a place where they can monetize their value.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your question. Before answering, I want to say something because both of you had examples with school and bullying. And what's the most fascinating thing is that most of the trauma of the clients that I've had are not from their family, but are from school. Like, how fucked up, sorry if I cannot
Yes,
swear, but
seriously.
how fucked
Pretty
up
fucked.
is that
Yeah.
we can have the best upbringing, like our parents can be perfect, right, and they can give us the best education, but then we end up in school, in public school, or like depends where you're at. But kids are mean, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
realize the things that are saying that may impact you for life. So
Mm-hmm.
the most, like, especially for entrepreneurs, most of the fear of sharing online and going full on with their business comes from either a mean girl, a mean best friend that bullying them or didn't believe in them or like criticize them all the time or things like that. So that was the, like, I think this is the biggest discovery that I had in my 3 years of doing hypnotherapy, and that blew my mind. Like, honestly, I don't want to give my child, whenever I will have a kid, I will not give it in school. Like, I will not take him to school. I will do homeschool it with him. Like, no, no, thank you.
I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think with money, it's the core thing is that we repeat what we saw in our family. So this is where the family part really has an impact, right? Because your relationship with money is how your parents used to relate to money. So if your parents used to hate money, you subconsciously, even though you desire, like we all desire, especially entrepreneurs, I want to make more money. Everybody comes to me like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to make more money. Like, do you? Or is that 10% of your conscious mind that wants to make money, but subconsciously, what do? You procrastinate, you do anything else besides doing money for your business, making money for your business, or you sabotage yourself, you spend all the money. Why? Because subconsciously you are not comfortable with having money or with being a successful entrepreneur. So, for example, to give you an example, my personal story was that my mother went to work in another country when I was like 17 years old. So she had to move to another country to make money for us to go to college. So I hated money. Like I remember in hypnosis, I didn't know that I hated money, but I never had money. Like in my adult life, I always used to struggle with money.
Mhm.
So in hypnosis, like when I started working with that hypnotherapist, I saw that I hated money. And that's why money didn't come to me. Because when my mother left, I blamed money. Like it's because there is this concept of money in the world, and if money wouldn't exist, we didn't my mother didn't like didn't have to live and all these things. So
Mhm.
I had to heal my relationship with money. And guess what? They hated money. That's why they didn't have money like all their lives. They were like, you know,
Generational trauma. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Like they were like all the time, money doesn't matter. What matters is to be happy. What matters is to have a loving family. What matters, yeah, so why do you fight about money if money doesn't matter, you know? So they had
I
the,
saw a funny quote once that said rich people love to tell poor people that money doesn't matter and that it's
yeah,
all about love, just so that
yes.
they can stay rich. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like we all think that like some of us think that money doesn't matter. What matters is to be happy. Yes, so why when you look into your bank account you don't feel good? Why, you know, you have this desire to do something bigger with your life because you want, you know, we need money and we want money, and it's beautiful to have money coming from desire. So the
Mm.
first place to look is how was your relationship, your parents' relationship with your money, and trying to go back and remember, you know, when your parents receive money, what did they do with them? Like, did they spend it all in a single grocery shopping, or did they were, or maybe they were the opposite, or they were like every penny, they were like gathering every penny and saving every penny and like not spending on pleasure. This is another huge one for women. Like
Mm.
I it's easier for me to spend for my kids, to spend for my husband, to you know, but not to invest in myself or to invest in my business. And they feel like that it's something bad, or you know, there is this misconception that if I invest in myself that I'm egoistical, you know. So I'm
Right.
yeah, so yeah, that's the biggest core, like looking into your relationship, your parents' relationship with your money. And then
Hmm.
even looking throughout your life, you know, how, what, to identify your core pattern, you know, like do you spend more than you have, do you borrow more than you have, or are you the opposite one when you're saving everything and you're not allowing yourself um, to have a budget for pleasure? Because this is how we work. For example, if you're overspender, then you're, and we all have different life lessons. That's the beautiful thing. There is no recipe in hypnosis that I do the same process with everybody. Like if um, you are an overspender, then your lesson is to set money aside and to have a budget that you know, you don't get into every month. If you don't spend at all, then you have the lesson to spend on pleasure. Go and buy something for yourself and don't look at money, but on the contrary, enjoy that you're spending money. So it's really important to identify in which like area you are, in which extreme you are, so you can bring more of the opposite into your relationship with money. And I think the core wound that I identified here in all my clients is the not good enough wound. So if you don't feel worthy of having money, you'll not have money.
I
So
would
if,
agree with that.
yeah.
That is resonates with me 100%. And I'm seeing so many parallels between what you're saying from a hypnotherapy standpoint and what I know in Reiki. And what you're saying in Reiki terms would be like, it's all from your root chakra, which is established in childhood. So if you
Mm,
have an unstable childhood, you have a lot of insecurity, a lot of ups and downs, you have parents that didn't have a healthy relationship with money, or they hated money, or they would talk bad about rich people, you know, like they're
mm-hmm,
greedy, this and that. You associated all of these traits with having money and they were all negative things. well, that's your root chakra that needs healing. And until you can heal through that, which, you know, through a subconscious hypnotherapy state of mind, you're going to keep repeating those patterns without realizing you're doing
Yeah.
it. And it's the same what you were saying, whether you are too cheap or you spend too much.
Mm-hmm.
That's like overactive and underactive root chakra. You can
Mm.
overuse or underuse, and we're always seeking that balance. And I love hearing it from your perspective, because when you said the one thing you see in all your clients that they have in common is the feeling of unworthiness. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
bet you everyone listening to this and all of us here have experienced that in our lives. You don't feel
Mm-hmm.
worthy of accepting
Yeah.
money, or you have a job and you don't feel worthy of getting the paycheck you want, like you're not earning it. How can somebody overcome that subconscious block? How can somebody release that feeling of feeling unworthy and stepping into their power and feeling like, no, I deserve this?
Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, like if you would be able to do a hypnosis, like either online, there are a lot of, it's called regressive hypnosis when you go back into your childhood. So you can work with the effects that shows up in the present moment, like you feel not good enough and try to do some things to feel good enough. But I think the most effective is to go back and to see, where did you learn that you are not good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe you saw your parents like thinking that money is only for the rich, and they didn't feel like, through this belief they had, in a way, this sense of they weren't good enough to make money. Or we come from a poor family, we will not have so much money in our lives. All these beliefs hide, in fact, a not good enough, an unworthiness of having a lot of money. So if you would learn, or maybe it can be your teacher that said you'll never make money through your art. And Kara is like, can tell us more about this, because in the art
Yeah.
field there are a lot of people that try to convince artists that you will not make money through your art, or through your art, or it will be really hard to make money through your art. So where did you learn that belief? Where did you learn that you are not good enough? And trying to get back to that inner child that learned that is not good enough, and to tell her or him what she needed to hear in that moment. The opposite, maybe, you are good enough just because you are born. You are good enough just because you are human. You are good enough just because you're trying. You are good enough just because you're listening to this podcast. Like, because you're
Yeah.
listening to this podcast, you're trying to be better. So you're already better, you're already good enough. So these are the things that you can do with your part, but also in the present moment, whenever that voice comes up. And I would love Kara, if she wants to share it, if it's not personal, she can give you a perfect example how you can have both voices. You can have the overspender and the underspender, because one of her parents is the overspender, like the one that followed her dreams, and is like didn't make so much money out of it, and the other one that didn't follow their dreams and made a lot of money through through a occupation that was like highly paid. So she experienced both of these voices. So the exercise that we did together was to identify when one of these voices is coming through the surface, and trying to talk back to them, to identify them. So if you want, Kara, to share more about this, and your experience with identifying these voices and working a little bit with this mindset.
Yeah, like so yeah, my mom like went and chased her dream. She was a special ed administrator and worked in the schools like for her whole career. And I remember like just she worked really hard. Like she would, when I was younger, like probably starting first grade, she was like finishing her master's. And I found like my mom kept a lot of my like childhood stuff, which I'm glad now because I can like kind of look back and see like what I was thinking. And I found one the other day from when I was in kindergarten, and it was like, what does mommy do? And it was like, mommy studies and works on the computer or something like that. And I'm like, oh, she was going to school. But
Yeah.
I like on my mom's side, like I always felt like watching her like work so hard, and she was a single mom too. Like my parents got divorced when I was like 2. Um it just seemed like there was like never enough money, like, or like it was, she was always working. So like I don't know, one of my issues that I realized was that I wanted to be around her more, and I had like some stuff come up around that. But as far as the money goes on my dad's side, like my dad is like been super successful money wise and has always been in the oil and gas field. And he had gone to school for geology, and I'm trying to remember what his dream job was, but it wasn't what he was doing, and he pretty much spent his whole career in that field, and made a ton of money. And so then when I graduated college, I was kind of fed up with art school because I was getting a lot of like sick feedback about like my content and just like what I was doing. And I just was just like, whatever, I'm not gonna like pursue my art degree anymore. I'm just gonna go start making money. And so the examples I had were like my mom and my dad. And I was like, well, if I work in oil and gas, like I know I'll make good money. And I got onto that wheel and, spent 10 years making a lot of money. And it was like, I met my goal of the 6 figures. And then it was just like, what? Like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to just be like so fulfilling. And it just wasn't. Like, I wasn't doing what I wanted to ultimately do. And I'm still not even sure like what exactly that is. Like, I want to be able to help people. But I knew I had to like do something different. So when I quit and I started working with Andrea and we started going through all these things, it helped me have like a really good perspective on everything, kind of just being able to see where everything came from and how it kind of like brought me to where I am. And I don't want to talk about it like in a negative light. Like it was my choice to do what I did, and I definitely learned a lot. And I think all of my experience like has benefits like to where I am right now. Like I'm able to see both sides, and
Yeah.
I got to have those examples to see like kind of the two extremes. So I'm excited to hopefully be the balance in the middle at some
Yeah.
point when I
Yeah.
start
Well,
doing what I want to do. But yeah,
well, I know you'll find that. It's so
yes,
funny, Khara. The more I get to know you, like since we've reconnected, I mean, I know we joke about it all the time, but the more and more parallels I see. And same, my mom and my dad had the same exact dynamic. Like my dad came from money, had a lot of wealth, like did very well. And then but he'd never act like it, like I never knew
same.
that till much
Yeah,
later. But my mom, also a single mom, we were raised in Texas. My dad was in Arizona, so I only saw my dad twice a year. I was definitely raised by my mom the majority of the time, and she had a very different mindset with money and a very different belief. And like your mom, she was a really hard worker, always running around, always working, always doing stuff, and but always struggling with money. Like she couldn't hold on to it. It was just always like slipping through. And we grew up like quite poor. And in my adult life, I've started to see a lot of the similarities between what my mom used to do, which I think she has done a lot of inner child healing work, and she has gotten to a much better place with money. She had her own childhood trauma, which was root chakra stuff that she had to work through, and I think still is. But she's gotten to a much better place with money. But I started to identify these things in my life as an adult, like, oh, wait, I'm like acting, I'm believing that money's hard to come by. It's hard to make money, and this is a money block I have. And I've been very cognizant of it, especially in the last 3 years since I moved back from Thailand. And I've been working on releasing these money blocks and having a more abundance-based mindset and stepping into my value, feeling worthy, feeling valuable, feeling like I deserve this. And man, y'all, it is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard to release this stuff.
Yes.
It's so deep rooted and ingrained. And so I think being cognizant of it and aware is obviously the first step. But
Yeah.
I am still working through that. And it's, baby steps. Like you said, Andrea, nothing's linear. Like healing is not linear, it is
Yeah.
cyclical. So yeah, I guess just what are some things you do, Kara, to help with releasing that since we have such similar backgrounds?
Well, the hypnotherapy has been a big part of it for me. And, some of the blocks we can bust through like in one session, but this is one that we've done several sessions on because it was run so deep. Like sometimes you need to
Yeah.
go back to it several times, especially
Yeah.
if there's like reinforcements of that kind of mindset throughout your life. Like you have to kind of go back and readjust those.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love about hypnosis is that it's helped me be able to practice on my own, like to get to a deeper state, like in meditation. So, that's one of the things that I do. I like to like meditate when I'm feeling like out of control. But before I get to that point, I have to it seems like I have to do some kind of like physical like movement to get like some of the energy out, or at least like journal out my thoughts and kind of get it out of my head. And this is kind
Yeah.
of like a recent thing that I've like finally put it together. Like this is the system,
Hmm.
because I'm like one of those people before I started working with Andrea, like I couldn't ever meditate. I couldn't turn off my mind. And through working with her, I've learned how to do that. And now like having all these other tools like the journaling and the ecstatic dancing or whatever it is, even just like it doesn't even have to be like crazy ecstatic dancing. It could just be
Hmm.
stretching or just like jumping around or shaking. Like shaking's a really good one too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but just kind of getting that energy out and then bringing yourself to a point where you can start meditating and then seeing what comes up. And recently I started, like, usually I would do a guided meditation because I just didn't know what I was doing, but I started just meditating without anything and meditating with myself in mind. And what's
Hmm.
coming up is just like I, I'm like surprised like how deep it goes. Like, and I feel like it's because of the hypnotherapy that I'm able to like get into that state like quicker because I've been practicing it.
Hmm.
Um, and then like sometimes when I meditate and stuff comes up, like if I want to get like clarity on it, I'll use like my oracle cards or my tarot deck and see like what comes up. Every single time I do that, it's always like connected. It's like kind of freaky, like
Yeah.
it's kind of scary, but it's super helpful. And it also just helps you like kind of trust yourself. Like that's been a big like underlying theme of all of this for me is like the self-trust piece and being able to sit with yourself and tune into these like your past history, whether it's through hypnosis or just through meditation, is so powerful because you can start to see like the things that are coming up and like how they may have affected you, or even answers to questions you ask, and like you have them within you. Like
Yeah.
all of these tools are just like to help you like get connected back to yourself like ultimately. And I
Yeah.
think that's like really I don't know, I guess like that's kind of the biggest thing for me is just having that practice of reconnecting to myself and being able to
Yeah.
get to a point where I can get to that, like because of all the other like activities I have to do before I can sit down and just go
Yeah.
within, inquire within.
It is crazy how much we know already, but we don't realize how much we know. And I noticed when I did my hypnotherapy sessions, things were coming up that were very unexpected.
Hmm.
And it was my subconscious mind like regurgitating these things. And I would be thinking, this has nothing to do with why I'm here. But my subconscious mind was smarter than me and was like, no, actually, this is why you're here. And my hypnotherapist would ask me a question and my ego mind, my conscious mind would immediately be like, I don't know. And
Hmm.
then my subconscious mind would say something and I know I'm saying it, but I don't know where it's coming from. And
Hmm.
I just like, whoa, that was kind of profound. Where did that come from? And we just need to give ourselves a chance and allow ourselves to be guided by our own intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a journey unraveling. I don't want to say that we are in healing for the rest of our life, because that means that we are never good enough, you know, we're never perfect enough, we're never there yet. No, it's not that we're healing all our lives, but we can constantly improve. There will always be things that will come to the surface and needs our attention, or as Kara said, there are things that we are keep working on, but they come deeper. We go deeper and go past one layer and another and a lot another, until we got, like 2 sessions ago we did an ancestral healing. We worked with 7 generations back, with clearing everything back, like every mindset, every scarcity belief, anything. So if we, for 30 years of our lives, being in a certain mindset and lived through scarcity and having the same type of relationship, of course that it's not taking only 1 second to heal. Of course that it will take some time for us to reconnect to ourselves, as Kara said. But it's through all this, there is no perfect recipe of what you can do to rewire the not good enough wound, let's say. It's just anything that you can do when the wound shows up. Like, how can I love this part of me that doesn't feel good enough? How can I hug her? What can I do for her today? Does she want for me to move? Does she want for me to listen to a range song and throw some pillows? Does she want
Yeah.
for me to just lay in bed for today and give myself a fucking break from all this healing? Like, what does
Yeah.
she want
Yes.
today? You know, that's what healing means. Whenever that part comes up, what can I do for you today to feel a little bit better? You know, that's the process. And what, based on what you said earlier, that you had similar parents and one was wealthier, the other one had some money problems, and us going through this journey of, you know, choosing one career that's safer in the beginning and then going through our dreams, and it seems like we lost 10 years of our lives trying to be somewhere where we shouldn't. But in fact, we needed that time to be here now. We wouldn't, maybe I wouldn't do hypnotherapy if I wouldn't be in my 9 to 5 for 8 years. We wouldn't be here if we wouldn't have both our mom and our dad to learn both the wealthy version and the struggling version, so we can learn what's the balance for me. How does my relationship with money looks like? Do I want to be more on the overspending side, or do I want to be more on the saving side, or do I want to have both of these parts into my reality? So I think that wherever you are in our journey, in your journey, you are exactly where you need to be. So this for me was like a core lesson that I learned lately, and it gives me such a, like a lightness in my body, you know. It doesn't matter if I still have things to do, or things come up, or my money mindset isn't yet like the way I would want it to be, but where I am, it's exactly where I need to be.
I find that so comforting
Yeah,
also. And something you said that just like made something click in my head. You said, what does she need today? What
yeah,
does she need? Does she need to punch a pillow? Does she need to do this? Two things came to mind, and they're two things that I never allow myself to do. And one of them is crying. I like to cry. I enjoy it, but I just for some reason never allow myself to. It's like for me a sign of weakness. And I know my subconscious has programmed me to suppress tears, but it's so cleansing, it's so healthy. I think it helps physically release something. So I want to cry more, but that's what she needs. That's what my inner woman needs. And
mm-hmm.
then also rage. I need to be
Yeah,
more rageful. I need to like really allow myself to get angry because like I tend to suppress that. I'm like, no, love and light, happiness, yay. And I
yeah.
don't allow myself to really get angry and like punch a pillow and let it out. Like somatic healing, just releasing it on a physical level instead of just suppressing it deep into my psyche.
Yeah, you know, like that's one of the things that Andrea introduced me to. We talked about ecstatic dancing on a couple episodes now, but Andrea introduced me to this whole concept where we like go through a different emotion for each song, and the ones that like hit the hardest are the rage ones for me, and it's like I have to get that out like after so many years of suppressing it, like you said. And then Andrea, you
Yeah.
brought up a good point too, because my reaction to any kind of negative feeling usually is to suppress it or to distract myself from it. And recently, it was just like last week actually, I was like, I don't know what is up with this like January, but the whole month I was a little bit off. And finally at the end of the month, I was like, I'm just gonna let myself feel like shitty and just like see what happens. And because I like never let myself do that. I'm always trying to like snap out of it or like redirect. And it's like, let me just try. And it was like 3 days that I felt like just the worst. I think it's like the dark night of the soul situation where it's just like you're just rock bottom, like thinking you're just worthless. And I had to really like, it really helped me get perspective on everything. I think Kelly, you mentioned something about like being able to see like your experiences and how they've like benefited you and where they've brought you to where you are today. And I feel like I was really able to do that, like kind of zoom out and see like wow, like all of this experience that I've had is like actually pretty awesome and I can like do something great with this. Like,
Yeah.
and but if I hadn't have let myself feel all the way down to the root, I guess, like it wouldn't have allowed me to have that big breakthrough. And I feel like since then I've just my perspective on like where I am now and where I've been is just like so much better. Like I don't know. I feel like it was another like root of like victimhood that I released, like, because that's kind of the whole point of like what I'm doing is to like get out of the mindset that like I am what happened to me or whatever. And it's not. It's like things are happening
Yeah,
for me. Even if they seem negative at the time, there is a positive outcome and it has, like a benefit. So, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh my
Stepping
God.
away from the victim mindset, that's a hard one for a lot of humans. It's
Yeah.
easy for us to get caught up in it.
Yeah. Oh my God. When you say that you cannot feel hate, like anger, like I was angry for you, because I'm
Yeah.
so angry when I hear women that don't express anger because this comes from such a deep conditioning that women should be these nice girls and
Yep,
The
smiling all
good
the
girl
time, the
wound.
good girl syndrome.
yep,
Yeah, you need to smile all the time
absolutely.
and like give everything to others and be this philanthropic being that saves the world and leave herself on the last place and all these
And
things
also,
like
she has to look like a 10 while she does it and be
yeah,
perfect physically,
Yes.
yes,
emotionally, and mentally. And
yeah,
we are held to such a high standard. So we have to be twice as good to be, or twice as good to be half as good, right? But
yes, yes,
yes, I like that that made you angry because
yeah,
now I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit.
yes,
Like,
yes.
I'm angry too.
Yeah, we should be angry, because this blocks a lot of emotions toward deep down. So again, one of the most subconscious mind also, the subconscious also means the body. So when we're talking about deep emotions that comes and overwhelms you, like the fastest way to release them is through moving the body. So dancing, yelling. Yelling is such a good technique also because most of women have also their throat chakra blocked because we are
Yeah.
kept from expressing ourselves. So yelling, screaming, jumping, going for a walk, throwing pillows, anything with your body, anything somatic, as you said as well. And the more you'll do that, the more you'll see how other emotions come to the surface because when you cannot repress only one emotion. When you repress an emotion, you repress all the emotions. So when you will open the gate to your anger, will be you will be able to feel even more fulfilled, more happiness, more joy, more love. And I worked like I had the same conditioning as you to not be angry, and I worked for 1 year. Every morning I would wake up and throw some pillows or yell or scream or stomp my feet on the ground and play like a hard rock music and song and do all these things with my anger. And I now it's like so weird because I'm not angry anymore. I would love to be more angry sometimes, to yell at the cashier when she's speaks to in a tone with me. But it's like I cannot be so angry anymore,
I
So
have the perfect thing in mind for me as I'm hearing you talk and hearing Kara's experience with something you told her to do with somatic dancing and songs. I know Ashley Simpson's CD from 2004 is going to be my angry CD.
Oh
Cool.
my
Like
God.
that's gonna be my dancing angry CD. And like you said, Andrea, when you suppress the negative emotions, you also suppress the good ones. It's like numbing your pain, like with alcohol or any substance. Like you want to numb the negative emotions, but then you're also inherently numbing the joy, the passion, the happiness. Like you need the polarity of the two to feel them deeply. And so I want to feel that joy and that
Yeah.
ecstasy. So if that means getting angry and being inspired by Ashley Simpson circa
Yeah.
2004, like I'm gonna rage.
Woo! I support
I
you.
love
I
that.
support you big way. Yeah, please do that because you're doing it not for yourself, but you're doing for all the women before you that were suppressed and weren't allowed to express their anger. So do it for everyone, for us, for everyone.
Wait, that's a beautiful way to say it. Like that actually like really hit me in the heart chakra.
Yeah,
Like do it for every woman who didn't have a voice before, for every woman who wasn't allowed to or didn't have the opportunity to. Like
yeah.
we're gonna heal the feminine line.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
That's what we're doing. We're not healing one thing or, doing the healing individually. We're doing it for everyone.
I think that's beautiful.
Man, this is such a good episode. I'm so glad you were able to come on. Like, oh, I've been wanting this forever.
I'm so happy I was with you as well, and it's been a pleasure to exchange, this flowy conversation about things that are really deep for us. And sometimes it's a sensitive talk, to share with your friends or to share with your partner or to, for really having an open space. And I'm happy and congrats for creating this open space in your podcast to bring me here to share this talk and to doing this mission in the world where you're taking some time from your time to share your knowledge, to share, some insights with the world. So congrats for creating this.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
I
With
gained a
love.
lot from this. I feel like I think my biggest takeaway is definitely the embracing of the sadness and the anger for me. And I'm going to work consciously and subconsciously to
Cool.
do that.
I love that touch at the
Yes.
end.
And we'll link all of your information in the show notes so that anybody who wants to reach out and experience hypnosis with you can do so because it's
Cool.
definitely powerful and life-changing. And I wanted
Yes.
them to be able to experience your voice at the beginning because it's just so
Yeah.
powerful and soothing. I love it so much.
Thank
Thank
Yes.
you
you.
I'm
so
going to
much for
be
being on
booking a
here.
session. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so
Thank you.
happy. Thank you for sharing my work. It's so beautiful to support each other in this journey of promoting healing to other people as well. Thank you for doing that.
You're
Yes.
so welcome.
Yay.